Most business owners work all day, yet they never get their important work done. They always feel behind, and if they stop working, the business stops working. But after helping countless 6, 7, and 8-figure business owners systemize their business, I can promise you that it doesn't have to be like that. In fact, you can work less, grow faster, and run your business without feeling stressed or overwhelmed. So in this video, I'm going to show you the exact step-by-step system that I give to my clients, which lets them run and grow their business in just a few hours a day and without all the chaos and stress, so that you can do it too. Now, first I have to quickly show you why you're actually stressed in the first place, because otherwise none of this is going to make sense and it's not going to work. So I want you to imagine two situations. In the first situation, you have 20 things to do, but you're not sure what they are, what's most important, and you have no plan or structure or organization for how to deal with them. And you're also convinced that all 20 things have to be done today, otherwise your seat is going to open up and turn into a black hole and you'll get sucked away forever. In the second situation, you have 20 things to do, but you're incredibly clear on what they are, what's most important, how to go about tackling them, and you know what has to be done today and what can wait. Now, answer me this. Which situation is going to be more stressful and overwhelming? Well, it is obviously the first one, because in that first scenario, you have no clarity and everything is unorganized and it's chaotic, which creates stress and overwhelm because they inherently come from a lack of clarity and order. And in business, this is incredibly common because unless somebody has showed you how to actually fix this, then business is going to be very chaotic by its nature. You're not going to have the knowledge to create the control and the order that is required to build and maintain such a complex thing in an organized and structured way. So you're going to feel all over the place. As you increase your clarity and order, your stress falls. And so you can execute at a higher level, you can make better decisions, and you can actually grow faster. Now, chaos in business typically comes from 5 areas. So let me show you the system to fix each one of them. Let's start with the first area, because fixing this can quite literally fix every problem in both your life and your business, which, yes, that is a wild claim, but it's true, because not only does it work for my clients, but it completely changed my life. See, back when I ran my ghostwriting agency, I was constantly stressed and fuck, it didn't matter if I meditated, journaled, went to the gym, sunned my balls, whatever. I always had this stress that sat on my shoulders. I had what felt like a million things to do. All of them were super important. And I would just do them whenever I found the time. But from the moment I woke up to the moment I went to sleep, no matter how much I got done or how little, it was never enough. There was always more for me to do, and it was because this first area, my time, was chaotic. But when I fixed it, every single aspect of my business and my life improved, because your business and your life are a result of how you spend your time. So if you remove the chaos and you structure your time, you spend it better, you will have less stress, a better life, and better results in your business. But how do you take back control of your time? Well, there's obviously a million small things you can do, and they all have their place, but you have to view improving your time like a pyramid, where the foundation is the most important, and there's no point trying to optimize the top layers, optimize anything else until you have that foundation in place. And there's 2 things which make up that foundation that are game changers for me and every single one of my clients. The first thing relies on you understanding that in business, you don't magically find new tasks to do every day, right? The vast majority, and I mean the vast majority of the tasks that you do in your business are recurring. You do the same things every day or every week. And most entrepreneurs just do those things when they find their time. So it's chaotic, which we all know how that goes, right? You'll not do it, you'll feel guilty, or you'll put it off, you'll do it last minute, and then you'll feel guilty for rushing it. It's not good. But the fact that your tasks are recurring, or in other words, they're done on a consistent cadence, means you can structure how and when you do them to a set time, which removes the chaos. It creates order and structure. It's predetermined, right? You've already made the decision. Hence, it is less chaotic and less stressful because it's now organized. Now, the way you do this is through creating what we call an MOS, your standard week. This is one of the first things I get all of my clients to do. So you take every task you do in the business, you assign them to a day of the week. Sometimes a task will have to be done on a set day, say Monday, for a team meeting. But for most of your tasks, you can just choose when you'll do them, whether it's every day for some tasks or every Tuesday or every Wednesday and Friday. It is up to you and depends on the task. But when you combine this with the second thing, your time will be entirely under your control and you'll be able to make time for everything, because what you want to do is every night you want to look at your standard week and say tomorrow is Monday. You look at Monday's tasks and you schedule them, because they're what you now do on a Monday. Now, the correct way to do this is you want to schedule everything that is already set in stone. So if you have a call at 1 p.m, you want to schedule that first. Then you schedule all the tasks from your standard week to a set time around the things set in stone. And this is how you make time for everything, right? Because you're literally, quite literally looking at all the things you have to do and going, I'm going to do this thing at this time. Hence, you can make time for everything, and your time is no longer chaotic because you have a plan for it. You have structured it. So you'll likely right now have all these excuses in your head as to why you can't do it, but yet look at your fucking time, right? Is it chaotic? Do you always feel like you have too much to do? Then this is going to be harsh, but you have to stop being a wee bitch and do it. You'll be less stressed, you'll get more done, you'll have more time for everything, you can thank me later, right? But now you know what business is like. Those tasks in your standard week aren't everything you have to do. You'll have projects and goals you're working on too, and they're one-off. And they can create a ton of chaos. So let me show you how to deal with them so you have less chaos in your business. See, most businesses have 100 different projects and things that they're trying to accomplish at once, which causes you to be stressed because you don't know which to work on. So you ultimately put some of them off, which makes you feel guilty and behind, therefore increasing your stress. But all you need is actually a simple way to structure them. I have a tool that I give to all of my clients, which I'll leave a link to in the description below so that you can grab it for free. It's incredibly simple, but is a true game changer because every project management tool out there is too complex, right? Which increases friction. So you end up not using it, which stresses you because you fall behind. But how this one works is it forces you to keep things simple. You have no choice. Hence you use it. Hence you make progress. Hence you're less stressed. So what you want to do is you want to list out your projects on the left side, okay, in the left column. You then break down each step to complete the project. You then assign an owner to each step, so who is doing it, and then you can assign a due date to each step. So now you have all of your projects or goals, you have each step that is required to achieve it, you have who is doing it, and you have the date that it's going to be done by. This is quite literally all you need to organize projects, okay? See all these 25 different layers of priorities and Gantt charts and all this here. It's not that they don't work, but they're too complex. You do not need that. It's increasing friction, which means you're less likely to stick to it, your team's less likely to use it, things are going to fall behind. All you need is what you need to do and when you need to do it and who's going to do it, okay? This is all you need to organize projects. You do not need anything else. Anything else is too complex. And this is really where it gets magic because with this sheet, there's a rule. You can only work on one step at a time. So you cannot start project 2 until the last step of project 1 is complete, and you cannot start the last step of project 1 until the step before it is complete. Hence, you must work down the list. Now, this will feel like you're moving slower, but what you have to realize is you're likely trying to work on 100 things at once, which means you and your team are so spread thin and distracted, which means you end up not getting anywhere, not making any progress, finishing nothing. And so by moving slightly slower, you actually move faster because guess what? You're focused, and you actually complete steps and projects, moving the business forward, making progress, rather than jumping from one thing to another, never finishing anything, getting stressed. So now, this means you've structured and organized big projects in your business, so you will have less stress, more clarity, and better results. But this brings us to the next problem. And fixing it is one of the most important skills that you can build in business. And the best way to explain this is I had a client come to me once and he was feeling incredibly stressed and overwhelmed because they had their standard week, right? They had organized their projects and they had started planning their days and they were loving it. They were operating at such a better level already. But they had one problem, which led to a ton of procrastination, a ton of stress, all the rest. And it was all because everything felt important and they didn't know what to do first. So their priorities were chaotic. They were all over the place. But when we fixed it, everything changed for this person. So how can you fix it yourself in your business? Well, what you have to understand is that in business, very few things actually matter, to the point where most of what you're doing is probably pointless from the lens of a business owner. So prioritizing is really simple. You look at what you have to do and you go, which of these tasks is going to move me towards a goal, my goal the most? Then you do it first. That is it, right? Now in business, that task is typically going to be one of two things. Either your marketing task, so that you can get more leads, because that's one of the most important things you can do as a business owner, because in business, there's 3 non-negotiable tasks. You have marketing, sales, fulfillment. Fulfillment and sales are the lower leverage of the two, so you likely will delegate them first, which means you're left to marketing, and it's incredibly important. It's incredibly high leverage. So it will either be one of those tasks, or it's going to be the next step of one of your projects. Obviously, which it is depends on your business, your bottlenecks, your team. So I can't tell you what your priority is. All I can tell you is how to prioritize. You look at what is most likely to move you towards your goal. You do it first. You do the second most important thing second. It really is that simple. And if you struggle to prioritize, it's likely because you don't know what your goal is or what's most important for moving you toward it. In which case, unfortunately, I can't help you with that in a YouTube video. If you work with me, link in the description, by the way, I obviously can. But otherwise, you just need to take some time, figure out where you want to go, your goal, and the thing that you need to do every single day to get there. Now, removing the chaos from how you operate is great. It is essential, but it can only do so much if your business is chaotic. So let me show you how to fix one of the biggest sources of chaos in every business. If you think of your business like a series of connected processes, they could represent important work, client work, invoices, anything else. And of course, these processes need to be done for the business to run and grow. But what do you think happens if you have 2 people who could do each process? You think it means it's guaranteed to get done. Someone will do it, but in reality, it means it doesn't get done. Now, how does that happen? Well, There's a story which explains it perfectly. There was an important job to be done, and everybody was sure that somebody would do it. Anybody could have done it, but nobody did it. Somebody got angry about that because it was everybody's job. Everybody thought that anybody could do it, but nobody realized that everybody wouldn't do it. It ended up that everybody blamed somebody when nobody did what anybody could have done. And that is exactly what happens in most businesses. Nobody takes ownership because everyone assumes that somebody else will do it, which means nothing moves forward in the business. Deadlines get missed, clients are left in the dark, you have to follow up and hold everybody's hand to make sure things move forward. And the entire business is built on a chaotic foundation that relies entirely on you doing everything. So here's how you fix it. What you want to do is map out your systems, document the workflows under them, and then make one person in your business responsible for each process and system. They're the person who's responsible for that process getting done, tracked, and improved. Now, one person can be responsible for multiple things, but each thing can only have one person responsible for it. Otherwise, you end up with everybody blaming somebody. And if you want this to be done right, you need to make it clear to each person what being responsible actually means. So when someone owns a process, they're responsible for ensuring that task, that process gets done, that the data is tracked, the problems are solved, and they update the SOPs, and they hand off the work cleanly to the next person if that's necessary. Now, once you do this, you'll be able to see your entire business at a glance. So who's responsible for what, when what is done, how you do what, and your team will know exactly what to do, how they do it, when they have to do it, meaning ownership is clear, and there's no more, oh, I thought Ross would do that, or that's not my job. And so things get done without relying on you. But that brings us to the next problem. And if you don't fix this, everything we've talked about just goes out the window. See, I used to get messages from my team and my clients constantly, be it on Slack, WhatsApp, or emails. And every time one came through, I'd feel that pull, that urge to reply instantly, because in my head, that's what good leadership was. If someone had a problem, I would drop everything and solve it. Or if a client had a question, I would drop everything and answer it. That's exactly when I realized that what I thought was good leadership, being available 24/7, was actually terrible leadership, because I was training my team to depend on me by doing everything for them instead of training them to think for themselves. So here's how I solved it. First, I streamlined communication with my team and my clients so that it was only through one channel. This way, everything was in one place, didn't have to check 100 different places to keep up with everything. Then I made it so that I only responded to messages and emails in set times. So I chose 2 30-minute blocks between 12 p.m. and at 5 p.m. This way, nobody was ever left for too long, but yet I could stay focused on doing the work that I was doing and wasn't getting distracted all the time and, thrown off schedule. Plus, it also means your team will firstly get more focused work done themselves, but they'll also take initiative and solve problems, because otherwise they have to wait 5 hours for me to do it. Then I made it clear with my team that any issues or problems or questions that someone wanted to ask me, they should check the SOP for an answer first, because it likely has the answer and it means we both save time. But if the SOP didn't have the answer, they could obviously message me, but they had to follow the 1-3-1 rule, where they message me with 1 problem, 3 potential solutions, and 1 recommendation. This way it's easier for me, because likely their recommendation is the right thing to do. They just want permission to do it. But it also encourages initiative, as they have to think of the solutions and come up with a recommendation. A lot of the time what ends up happening is they realize, oh, the thing that I want to do, the recommendation, is actually the right thing to do. I'm just going to go do it. And if a solution isn't in the SOP, it is then added to the SOP, so the problem is solved forever. Now, if you do those 3 things, all of a sudden you go from chaos, answering messages and putting fires out all day, to answering messages twice a day and putting out way fewer fires, and your team actually takes initiative and your business stops relying on you. And of course, all of this is so much easier if you build systems in your business. So click the video on screen now and I'll show you exactly how to do that.